Hi, Melissa, and welcome to our interview. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you for having me. It's lovely to speak to you today.
Lovely to have you. Melissa, um, well, thank you for joining us from South Africa.
Yeah.
And it would be lovely to hear a little bit about your background as a coach and what made you decide to embrace this career.
Mm. So I was previously in my career, I started in branding and marketing, and I did that for about 10, 15 years, and then went through my own life coaching experience. I signed up for a coach because I was feeling lost in my career and that it wasn't really fulfilling me and that I wanted to do more in the realm of speaking with people, helping people. So I worked with a coach and we worked on what my values were, what my strengths are, what I can offer the world, what I'm excited about. And so I came to the conclusion and the idea that I wanted to do what she was doing with me, which was helping people figure out their purpose, their passion, their careers. And so decided to become a coach. Initially, I thought I'd give it a couple of years. It would be more midlife retirement strategy, but it had other plans for me. So I studied coaching a lot earlier than I anticipated, and I'm really glad that I did. I qualified in 2019 as a coach with IPIC. I studied originally through IPIC, which is a global coach training organization. And I studied with mostly people in the EMEA region. So a lot of my network and my coach colleagues from my training school are from Europe and from Africa, from some parts, and obviously the UK, some parts of Middle East as well. Yeah, and so I did that 2019 and have been a coach since doing mostly associate work. I also have had private clients. Initially started my career with transition coaching, helping clients move through big life changes because I've gone through a number of big life changes in my life. So I really enjoyed supporting clients through that as well. So yeah, that's mostly been how I got into coaching and how my career has started.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing. And in terms of supervision, what inspired you to pursue coaching supervision?
Mm. So when I studied through IPEC, after you graduate, you have an opportunity to volunteer in the classroom where they're training new coaches. So I volunteered and I was part of a number of modules and cohorts where I was working in the room with coaches while they were learning. And it really inspired me to help support them more. Obviously, they come away with their skills, but there's a lot more to coaching than just being able to use tools. So I wanted to support them from a different perspective. And so I learned about supervision only after I had graduated as well. And then thought this is definitely something that I can see myself doing. And that's initially what inspired me.
Hmm. Was
Yeah.
there a moment that solidified that decision in your journey, or was it gradual?
I think it was more gradual because, like, the training school that I went to, IPEC focuses heavily on consciousness and your self-awareness. And I noticed, like, as we come into coaching, newer coaches, potentially there could be some support to help coaches remove themselves and their agendas from their coaching conversations. And so I really noticed that over time and really wanted to be involved with helping coaches on that part of themselves and their practice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you love most about supervision now that you're practicing it?
I love the uncertainty of what might come up in a session with a client, and then the breakthroughs and the aha moments that you might have similar with coaching. It's really wonderful to support somebody and support their own growth and awareness. And so that's really what I enjoy helping them to, yeah, create their own moments of reflection that can deepen who they are as coaches, their practice, and their results for their clients.
Hmm. And Melissa, in terms of you mentioned the uncertainty of what's going to come up in the session.
Mm.
And how do you feel like your training, your previous experiences, and what supports you for to be able to hold that space of uncertainty?
Mm. So, the coaching school that I went to, I keep referring back to them, but they form an integral part of who I am as a coach.
Mm,
And it's more about like the here and now as well, right? That just starts approach, being able to see what's coming up here and now. And so that excites me because I feel like that is where we are most vulnerable, we're most authentic when we pay attention to what comes up in the moments. And so being trained in that way to help support coaching clients. And then also I've been through, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of my own big life transitions and changes. So change and uncertainty has been a big part of my life, constantly moving through it. And I feel that like as having done that, I've developed the capacity to hold the space for when someone else needs it.
mm. You
Mm.
shared a little bit how your coaching and the coaching schools informs and supports you in your supervision. How
Mm.
do you feel that your supervision training and the supervision practice impacted your coaching and who you are as a person today?
Mm. I think greatly because it gave me all the different, it gave me language and it gave me lenses to look at things through. Whereas, like, I think the training, when you go through initial coach training, it's about learning the skills and the competencies. And this just helped put more of a psychological
Mhm.
perspective on things, which I really appreciated. And like that's helped me when working with clients, coaching clients now, not supervision clients, coaching clients to help notice things with more ease and to help to see I mean when we talk about all the modalities, right, like transactional analysis and just out all of them to just help me notice what might be going on with a particular client a lot more easily, so then my coaching became more effective as well as a result.
Mm. We
Mm.
hear this feedback a lot, whereas is the where a supervisor's training impacts their who they are as a coach, who they are as a person. So it's wider reaching than just learning the skill of supervision in
Yeah,
in this training.
definitely, definitely.
Um, What were some of the most interesting or maybe challenging moments as you were training as a supervisor?
I remember that initially I was quite overwhelmed with the theory of what we were learning and the amount of reading and material to work through and new ideas, new learnings. And so that initially felt a little bit overwhelming to me. But at the end, obviously having gone through it and having such amazing trainers, I was with Yannick and Mia, and that really like they supported us in learning the material and reiterating everything, so it felt more doable. And then obviously the questions of like, am I doing it right? And who do I want to be as a supervisor? How am I going to combine supervision into my coaching practice? Do I have to give one up, do the other? So a lot of those questions initially. But I think by the end of the diploma, a lot more was clearer for me at least. And then obviously a lot of the information and overwhelm became second nature and it sunk in a lot more.
Mm. And what helped you to overcome these challenges? Because some of the questions that you mentioned are pretty big questions, like who am I as a supervisor? Am I doing this right?
Yes, yeah. I was definitely going for my own supervision through the process as well, and the course supported it as well with our own group. So that helped a lot of my own reflection time, like up until then, like who have I been as a coach? What's my journey been as a coach? Tying into that purpose again, retying into it, coming back to it to inform like who do I want to be as a supervisor. And I think that even though it's a big question, it's also something that you evolve with as you practice. It's not something that's static, that stays the same. So that's something I'm still working with today.
Hmm. It is ever evolving, isn't it? The same
Yeah.
as with coaching. Who am I as a coach? And it does take time, and yes, it evolves. Um, in terms of the clients you work with, who are your typical clients?
Mm. So mostly newer coaches up until PCC level with the ICF, I'd say. So new mid-level experienced coaches. I think that's mostly because I'm at a PCC level going towards MCC, so I feel most comfortable working with people with similar skill level than me. Yeah, so that's mostly, and then obviously I'm based in South Africa, so I work with clients, as I said earlier, like mostly in the MEA region. So newer coaches in the UK, in Europe, in South Africa as well. So yeah.
Hmm, hmm. And what do they tend to bring in terms of topics and challenges to the sessions?
Mm. So, who am I as a supervisor is one. What does my practice look like? How do I want to build my office? What office do I want to have? And then also, if they're doing groups, like the group dynamics that they might be challenged with, how to handle different personalities in the room, that facilitation aspects, and then some obviously ethical challenge as well, like if something they've come up with a situation that they're not sure what to do or how to handle because it's either new to them and they haven't experienced it before or it rubs up against with their values. So those are mostly, and then obviously new skills as well, like things that they've been working with, trying out in their practice and seeing, getting support around like what could I do differently, and yeah, so it's varied, but I would say it's mostly still those questions centering around who I am and what does my business and my office look like.
Hmm.
Mm.
Melissa, do your clients tend to bring sometimes topics that maybe you haven't been trained in or you haven't encountered in your experience? And if you had these situations, how did you navigate them?
Mm. Um, most clients bring those sort of questions. I haven't had a lot. I think if I think about it, there've been one or two where clients have had interesting dynamics within a group that they were dealing with. And the best way that I know how to help and support somebody then is to just create the space, hold the space, and support them to be reflective, to be brave, to see what they're not seeing. So and yeah, that's the best way I know how to support somebody in a situation where I haven't dealt with a challenge like that myself or am new to hearing it for the first time.
Hmm. Because
Yeah.
as supervisors, we support. So the reason why I asked the question is, as supervisors, we support so many coaches with so many, most supervisors with so many
Mhm.
backgrounds, and you can't experience them all, right? So there will always be that situation. Well, I haven't encountered this before, but I'm still
Mhm.
ready to hold that space.
Mhm.
Um, and I love you mentioned the word brave, right? And
Mhm. Mhm.
most of coaches already have the resources. They just need us to help them to uncover them and
Yeah.
discover them. because most of the times they do have the answers and the resources.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. When they start to tap into themselves more instead of like, I think, what is the right way or what should I be doing? Um, then the answers come more easily.
Yes. And a
Mm,
lot of the times behind the question of what's the right way or what should I be doing, or it's very often a validation. It's a bit
mm,
of, please tell me I'm doing it right or I'm going in
mm,
the right direction.
mhm.
This need for validation is often present, which is very human and very normal
Yeah.
to feel like that. Um, what does the future hold for you, Melissa, in terms of
Mhm.
you as a supervisor?
So I'm currently working on building my hours up to apply for a few accreditations. At the moment, I have some private clients, and I'm also working with Coaching Catalysts, which is an organization in the UK, as a supervisor of supervisors for their trainee supervisors. So I'm doing a lot already as a supervisor, and I'm enjoying the work that I'm doing. So I'm happy to keep on with what I'm doing for the next couple of years, seeing my own private clients and supporting as an associate supervisor where I can.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm juggling a lot of balls, parenthood, coaching, and supervision. So I'm happy to carry on with what I'm busy with at the moment.
lovely, and it's great to see how you're supporting also supervisors in training.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, Melissa, what would you share with a coach who's considering to train as a supervisor? Any
Mm,
thoughts that you would like to share based on your experience?
mm. I think the most important thing that has come up for me is like being ready for it from a capacity perspective. So feeling like I can hold that space for other coaches. So I've gone through these challenges myself in my practice, and I feel experienced enough to be able to support
Mhm.
coaches in the same areas. And then also, like, I have that own self awareness to be able to show up unbiased in conversations and to show up from a perspective of, I really want to truly help this coach be the best coach they can be. And I think that would be something that I would advocates for coaches to be ready to do a supervision diploma.
Mm.
Mm.
What are some of the, or what were for you some of the signs of readiness
Mm.
to
So
train as a supervisor?
yeah, so I love that you asked that question. So yeah, I also went through my own journey of growing and trying to build my practices and changing a lot as a new coach. And I think I'd settled into what I was doing, and I mostly do associate coaching work, as I mentioned earlier. So I really was felt settled, more settled as a coach. And as I mentioned, I was doing that volunteering for IPEC and being in the room, and that feeling of wanting to help grew stronger and stronger and more, that I felt like was something that I didn't really want to wait on any longer. So I felt settled, I felt experienced enough, and I felt the purpose and the desire to give back. And that's really when I knew that I was ready to take the step.
Melissa, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your experience as you went through this journey to become a supervisor and now practicing as a supervisor. It was lovely to have you here, and thanks
Mm.
again for sharing.
Yeah, thank you too, Andrea. It was lovely to speak to you today.